how many times does the eviction like turn violent in your experience?
It happens.
It happens.
It happens. There is a common thing. It depends where you are evicting, but it happens. But when it happens, we are always ready.
What's the most insane thing you've ever come across?
Mostly I've been in positions where, there've been gunshots, a lot of things, but we always overcome those things. The young kids who are turning to prostitution, and funny enough, the community members are part and parcel of that. They support that. People from human settlement, they are part and parcel of that. They support that. Where young kids are turning to prostitution, young kids are using drugs, because you get small kids wearing uniforms. They go to a property like that buying drugs, and the community is doing nothing at all.
Rotman. What's up? Ndifuna nje undixelele uxelele abantu uba ungubani and wenzani.
Okay, I go by the name of Iskora. Abantu abababa bangazi ngeSkora. From eKasi bangazi ngeSkora. Uskora like umuntu vele who's into evictions and debt collections mostly.
Okay.
That's what most people they know me about. And I can say it has been such a journey. Nyenza ama eviction, ama debt collection. From 2005, I've been doing eviction and debt collections.
Okay.
Yeah, up until to date. Yeah, I'm the main guy who ensures that you get back your cash, you get back your property.
How did that happen? What was the first step into that life?
I can say this journey, it has been a journey whereby I've been doing it all my life. I can say I used to be a boxer growing up.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, so from being a boxer, most of the friends that I had in those days, they were already into the industry of debt collections and also evictions as well. So that's when I was introduced into this industry of debt collection and evictions.
Yeah,
it all started from the from the room of boxing.
The room of boxing. Explain, yes. What does that mean?
Room of boxing, I can say it's a place where boxers, they are being groomed.
Okay.
From being groomed, you get a lot of people who are more like you, who are also being groomed.
Okay.
Then from there, you meet people who are doing the type of jobs that you are mostly are interested in. So the guys that I knew back then, they were doing debt collection and evictions. And that has always been part of me. Yeah.
And how did Jozi Evictions come up?
Jozi Eviction, especially like in the early 2000s, if you recall back, this thing of property hijacking and building hijacking, it became very common around Joburg. A lot of buildings were being hijacked and properties being hijacked. So 2005, when I started doing evictions, evicting in a lot of properties and also in a lot of buildings, that's where now the name of Jozi Eviction team was born.
Okay.
Because I had my own crew that I was with. And we're evicting in a lot of buildings and properties. So that's when people started calling us Jozi Eviction team.
But you're not limited to Jozi, right?
No.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we are doing nationwide. Yeah, before it used to be in Joburg.
Yeah.
That's why how people know us, Jozi Eviction team.
Yeah.
But from Jozi Eviction team, we are now going nationwide.
So do you have people all over the country, or do you have a settled team that goes to the different places?
I've got my guys throughout the whole nation. If I go to KZN, I've got my guys in KZN. If I go to Cape Town, I've got my guys in Cape Town. If it's Eastern Cape, I've got guys in Eastern Cape. Yeah, all over.
I came across your page on TikTok.
Yes.
And you are well aware of the issue that I had in Cape Town.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But there I could see Uguti. I was so naive to the world that exists outside of my day-to-day life. You pay your bills on time. You assume other people do the same. You trust people. You're very innocent to how the world works, and when you are very much in the underbelly of things. Like, what are the challenges that you've experienced in this line of work?
In my line of work, you must always expect the worst. I've had people who've been shot before. If you've got your team, some along the way, that's when you start gaining experience. That guys get killed and so on. So you come up with new strategies that are working for you and working for your team to ensure that property owners, they get back their properties. Because these property hijackers, they are serious about what they do. They'll come to you being innocent tenants. From being innocent tenants, they take over your property. They hijack your property.
Yeah.
And immediately when they hijack your property, it's too late. And when we come along, that's why I'm saying we expect the worst sometime. Because you get people who are more violent, who are ready for a fight, and we need to give them a fight to ensure that property owners, they get back their properties.
And how many times does the eviction turn violent in your experience?
It happens.
It happens.
There is a common thing. It depends where you are evicting, but it happens. But when it happens, we are always ready. Yeah, we always have things under control.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was so naive until I met you. When did we meet? I think we met beginning of this year, right?
Well, it was this year.
Yeah, I think it was this year, sometime in Jan. Yeah, it was early Jan this year. And up until that point that I met you, I was very naive. I even trusted the legal system when it comes to eviction process in South Africa. And when I met you and you gave me the options that were available to me and the stark reality that, okay, cool, you can go through the normal eviction process with, you hire a lawyer, or you take some sort of advice from a rental agency to say these are the steps, and you'll be in those steps or ininyaka, and where now you have a specific understanding of how things work, that you handle it in a legal way, but it is very much fast-tracked.
Yes.
You are breaking the law, and you can easily be stuck for years if you try to use the law to get someone out of your property. Because the thing that was shocking for me is how justified these people seem to be. Like, in their eyes, I was the wrong one. The person that actually owns the apartment, the person that owns the property, is wrong in their eyes.
And I can say there's the sad part about it, property owners, the law turns them into criminals. Rather than the real criminals, if hijack your property, they become victims, they become innocent. I remember last time I was doing an eviction of even one lady. She's about 73 years of age. And the thing that made me to quickly assist her is because when she was renting, she was already kicked out. So she calls me crying out, saying, "You know what? I've been kicked out of the property I was renting, and somebody else is enjoying the free benefits in my property." And I asked her, "How long has that person been occupying your property?" She said, "No, the person has been there for 4 years, and for that 4 years I was paying rental, and right now I'm no longer working. I've been kicked out of my the apartment where I was renting." So I ended up taking further actions where I quickly went into the property, evicted the property hijacker who was there. And if you can go there, she's there with the kids, including with the grandkids. They're in that property. People who almost being homeless, they will be sleeping under the bridge.
Imagine.
So we saved them at that moment.
Imagine.
So we come across a lot of evil things. And the bad part, the law is always against the property owner. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah.
You go to court, the court is against you. It's not against the property hijacker. In fact, they protect the property hijacker more than you.
Yeah.
It's like they don't want to hear your side. They want to hear the side of the property hijacker. So
and it's
that's
not
a sad
even,
part about it.
And it's not even an experience that is limited to CBD or the suburbs.
Nowadays, it's all over. You go to the township, you go to the villages.
The villages as well.
The villages as well. Properties are being hijacked. Yeah.
Wow. And what do you think is fueling these hijackings?
No, it's because people, they've realized that taking over a property, it works in their favor because the government or the law will be favoring them the most, more than the property owner. You know, let me say, for example, you go for holidays. Maybe you decide to travel to Cape Town for maybe even 1 week. Then, you know, along the street, I see that, you know what, you are traveling, your house is empty. I break into your house, then I occupy your house. When I occupy your house, you come from Cape Town, you'll find me inside of your house. Then obviously you're going to run to the police. Somebody is breaking into my, staying in my house. Then the police will tell you, no, this is a civil matter. Go to court. You go to court, you're going to go to court maybe for more than 2 or 3 or 5 years, fighting for your own property.
Yeah.
While else you and the children that time, you've got nowhere else to go. So that's the serious part about the law we are having in today's life.
And it seems like the law is not well understood by the general population because in my unique experience, the advice I was getting from my realtor, who was either complicit or they were very negligent in their duties because the application of the tenants seemed legitimate, you know? And but being naive, you're like, okay, this person is a practitioner in real estate. They probably understand things I do not understand. So when I was getting applications and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Why is this person even being made available as an option for me? Because on paper, it does not look like they can afford this place. Even though when you look at the documentation, sometimes you're like, this documentation does not seem legit. If you spend enough time looking at it, you're like, this person has a salary coming in every month, and the only thing that gets debited is maybe 600 per month. Like, Aibo, who lives like this? You know, it's just to prove it. It is so intricate in how people create a paper trail of saying this is a legitimate application because of a paper trail that says it's legitimate. And when you accept such applications, you are done. The moment that person walks into your apartment, you are done, you know? And the way that they do it is they paid their deposit, in my experience at least, they paid their deposit very early on, like quickly, weeks before they had to move in. Deposit was paid. But as soon as they moved in,
trouble begins.
These people, initially, they would pay the rent maybe a few days late that first month. Okay, no problem. Few months down the line, not even few months down, then the second month, the rent is late by 6 weeks.
Damn.
So every month, I'm getting the rent that should have been paid the previous month, and I'm only getting it in snippets. I'm only getting 1 point something here, 2 point something there. I'm like, are these people serious? And then eventually, they just stop paying.
Stop paying. Yeah, that's what they do. Now nightmare begins.
That night, and when that nightmare began, it's only then that I saw actually this has been a plan from the get-go. What I'm experiencing is nothing new. It's like there's a playbook.
And if you can check, that guy who was renting at the way they do it, remember, he's a Nigerian guy married to a South African girl. And they use this South African girl in order to take over the property. And they know for sure that should you try to evict them, then the South African girl plays her role, whereby the police, they see a South African girl, and the Nigerian guy stays behind. And in that way, it's a perfect way to hijack your property.
And it's not always Nigerian. I've seen
No,
videos.
it's not. A lot of people. But I'm just talking in terms of your property.
Yeah.
And that experience. Thing, it works quite a lot. It works quite magic in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Yeah. In order to hijack a property, it makes it easy that way.
And in some cases, it looks like some of the real estate agents themselves are property hijackers.
They are a problem as well. There's this real estate agent guy that I evicted about 2 weeks back. Yeah, he took advantage because he knows the law. He's into the real estate. Then, he hijacks a property, huge property. Yeah. The guy, before I evicted him, I did try to talk with him and tell him that, look, I think you must start packing your things, you must go. And he was like, no, you can't evict me. I know my rights. I will stay here for as long as I like. And why else the owner at the time is busy paying bond and somebody else is staying for free. So I didn't waste time on him. I evicted him. And the owner has got the property in his own hands. It's not only him. You get even attorneys, lawyers who are hijacking people's properties. There was also a lawyer that I evicted as well. It was like last month. Yeah, he's an attorney. He hijacks a property, a beautiful estate property. He's been staying there for quite some time. Yeah, he knows. He understands the law. You're busy taking him to court for long, and he's enjoying your property for free. So we had to take further action to ensure that he's out of the property. Yeah. And that's what we did. So if he wants to fight, he must fight outside the property, not in somebody else's property.
In terms of the political side of things here, like what are the politicians doing here? Are they part of the problem?
In fact, majority of politicians, they're a problem. I remember last time I was at this podcast, I don't know if you watched it, Justify. If you watch Justify, I was already attacked by a lot of EFF members. A lot of them, because I mentioned the EFF. And, I'm in the ground. I'm always there evicting people. And majority of people that I evict who are hijacking buildings, who are hijacking lands, are part and parcel of the EFF because they follow the rules of Julius Malema where he say, you see a beautiful land, you like it, you occupy it. And they occupy whatever they see along the way. And those are the type of people that I normally evict quite a lot. And when you attack and you evict them and you say it on public, on a radio, then you get a lot of attacks. They call you all of these sorts of names and stuff. It shows how much the country likes crime. They don't want to look into the real victims. People, and I said it last time, I said for me, Malema is not my hero because majority of people that their land are being hijacked are not whites, are blacks. Most of the land that I've been evicting people from, where people that build shacks, they were blacks. There are less you few white people that their lands have been hijacked. That statement, it was falling upon his own because as a black person, they see you being weak. So it's easy to hijack your land. Even like last time, this one black farmer as well, he had a huge farm. In his farm, people that didn't waste time, immediately when he went out for a holiday, he comes back, his farm, it was turned into a farm of shacks. From farm of shacks, he called me. And most of when we came to evict them, we were surrounded by the EFF members, saying that, no, Malema has told us to take over this land. And we evicted them by force. We had to demolish all of the shacks so that the owner can have back his land. So you can see these politicians, they're a problem. They're part and parcel of the problem. And when you address them and you say it on media, they attack you. It becomes a problem.
But I'm sure the EFF are not the only ones.
No, they're not the only ones. Even there's some more of the ANC members as well.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of buildings in Joburg, ANC members are involved as well.
Yeah.
The hijack buildings, same thing as well. You evict, you get majority of them coming to block you from what you're doing. So.
It's the reason why I say I'm sure it's not only the EFF is politicians are the same. You know, like in the same way we have different churches and how people are known. I'm a Methodist. No, it does not. It really does not. Politicians.
I know politicians are the same, but we look at the people who are the high motivation to people doing it. I don't want to lie. EFF is number one amongst all politicians because you will get few ANC members. You will get other political parties who are very few. But EFF is the majority when it comes to the land issue, building issue. It is the majority.
Yeah.
And that's the problem we've been facing.
Is it a problem of maybe just corruption in general in South Africa where the EFF is maybe as equally as corrupt as the other parties? But in this instance, because land is such a key thing within that party itself, that's where the corruption is manifesting itself. And in other parties, it's probably manifesting itself in land, in rental issues, in property, but it's also manifesting itself in other ways. But specifically, in this use case, it's the EFF.
You see, when it comes to the land issue, I remember the EFF, when they first came into power, they promised black people land. You know, they're going to give them the land. And a lot of people celebrated.
Okay.
Then they started hijacking land. They were not taking land to give people. It was hijacking. And the majority of people that the land were being hijacked, they were black people. They didn't take the land from the whites. They took it from the blacks and give it to other blacks to build the farm of sheikhs. So the black farmers, they suffer with their children. I had a lot of people whom their kids, some of them they were in universities, some of them they were in school. They stopped paying school fees for their kids because they can't support their kids anymore because their piece of bread is being taken away from them. You know, you own a piece of land, you are farming as a black man, then suddenly somebody else comes and hijacks your land. Then suddenly you can't support your kids. Your kids, they can't go to university, they can't go to school. And when these people, when they rise up and address such kind of issues, you know, the media shuts them off. And that's what the media has been doing. It's been shutting off this kind of thing. That they don't want to show people that majority of people who are losing land, they are blacks. A lot of black people, they are losing land.
This is why I always say that religion and politics are the same thing. You know, because it would be very difficult to convince any supporter of any one of these political parties that the leaders of most, if not all, political parties in the world, and specifically here in South Africa, have more in common amongst themselves than they do with the people that they supposedly represent, their constituents. Because there's a certain discrepancy in South Africa that exists in terms of the equality that we have here. You know, since '94, there hasn't been enough done to bridge that gap between the have and have-nots. Unfortunately, the political parties are very comfortable using the race card to make us fight amongst each other. While at the same time, we are all suffering. We are all suffering. And
it's true.
So it's so easy for people to not see the things that their political leaders are doing because ideologically they are married to that ideology that party is pushing. But then you have to be critical, Kuti. Are you doing the right things? Yes or no? If you are, okay, cool, I'll vote for you. If you are not, then I have to point out that what are you doing? You know, people are starving out there. And you guys are fat cats driving around with VIP protection units.
Yes.
You know, you are in parliament, in designer clothes. You have minimum salaries of 1.2 million when the average South African is living on less than 20 rand a day. You know, I'm like, guys, what's going on here? So as soon as we are able to remove that thing we have, that loyalty or tribalism we have that is now entrenched with, no, I'm an ANC member, I'm an MK member, DA member, it becomes easier to see what is happening right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true indeed. Speaking of church as well, I don't know if you saw me last time on Politically Incorrect. There was this one pastor who's I can say who's one of the most influential members in the communities.
Okay.
They call him DJ Comfort.
I don't know
DJ
him.
Comfort is based in Pretoria West. What he did, he scammed one woman about an amount of about 450K. 450K because the lady trusted in him. She promised the lady that, you know what, the money they're going to invest into business, they're going to go into business together. Well, there was no business. He takes the money and puts it to build and part and parcel of his church. And that was not the only lady. There's another lady again. She was scammed an amount of about 50K. And another guy was an amount of 150K. I think the lady who was highly scammed, it was about an amount of about 1.5 M. And this is the pastor that is well trusted by people. We went to that church. We did shut down the church on that day to ensure that, especially this lady, she gets back her money, the 400K. So we did reach up to an agreement. When we reached up to an agreement, that's when we agreed that the church can continue. But it tells you what kind of leadership we are having. So people, criminals, they will use a church in order to scam people.
Yeah.
Same thing like politicians. They use politics, and the community and the members, they will trust them. And they use politics to scam people as well. That's the problem we are having. We keep on voting criminals.
We are mistaking people that are psychopaths for leaders because the traits of a psychopath are the same as those that are required to be a successful politician, are the same as those that are required to be the head of a mega church. You really have to believe the thing that you are selling. To a level you have to believe it, but be comfortable with knowing ukuthi you are selling a lie. And most people like me, when I was sitting there with these guys, I'm like, oh, okay, they seem like good tenants. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll sign. And him, the realtor, is either complicit or does not care enough to say this is a risky application and then it might cause problems, but he cares about his profit margin. He knows that if he gets this sign, and that's another one he can add on his KPIs for the month, that I've gained 20 more rentals for our clients. Where's my bonus? You do not think that way. You think that people are good and people want the best for you, but
Amen. You end up losing something bigger for nothing.
So you also do like jobs where you go get people's money back, not just property.
I'm a debt collector. I do debt collections. I always ensure that people that get back their money. That I always do.
How do you do that?
Debt collection, it's huge. It's broad. But if somebody else owes you money, I need to ensure that you get your money.
But how?
It's in so many ways to make people pay their money. It's in so many ways. But my job as a debt collector, I ensure that you get your money no matter what.
And let's say there's someone that owes me money. What is the type of evidence that you would need for me to show you?
It's always good to have a proof, like whether it can be through the bank that you transferred the money to this person, you didn't get anything in return, or anything in return that gives us a good chance that indeed we're going to get your money. You must have something, at least in writing. That way it's good. But if it's verbal, it becomes a problem, whereby I gave you money and there's nothing written down. That one, it's like, I cannot assist you in that way. Because I will need some evidence. So that if I'm going to speak on your behalf, I know for sure that when I'm going to that person, I become you. And I will demand the money must be paid. Because there is something that I've got.
Do you find that there is some sort of collaboration between the police, the corrupt rental agents, the political parties, even the drug dealers that take over properties. Is there some sort of understanding between these different people?
I can say, when it comes to, it's like I can say property issues, these groups, they are under one umbrella. Like most of the time, if we are going to evict in a property, you will get some officers who will stand on behalf of the property hijackers. Then you get also sometimes community members who are corrupt who will come as well and stand on behalf of the property hijacker. You know, right now there is a property I need to go and evict not so long ago. Maybe a few weeks from now, I'm going to go and evict. The property, I can say the people who have hijacked the property behind, they are criminals. You know, the properties in Soweto, they are criminals. So the criminals, they are against, the property belongs to one old lady. The old lady, I think she's about maybe 87 years of age. So I need to ensure that I give her back a property. So the criminals of the community, you know, they've made sure that the community is on their behalf. And the criminals in the community, they are against this old lady in her own property. They are not allowing her to have an access to her property. And somebody else who's an illegal occupant, without no title deed, nothing at all, is got a full right to the property. You know, so those are the type of problems we are having in our communities.
Yeah.
We get a lot of corrupt, rotten people.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame to see the community standing on behalf of these kind of people.
What is the longest property kidnapping duration you've come across in your work?
There are a lot. I remember, when was it? Last time I evicted one building in, it was in Pretoria North. We even demolished the building. The building has been hijacked since 2000.
Yeah.
And you can see for how long.
24 years. 20. And what is happening in the background for the owner?
Okay, like that building, when we went there, the building, people who were staying in the building, they turned the other part to be part of the brothel. The other part, some people are renting, staying with their kids. You know, when we went to search further, drugs were even being sold in that building. So, and you get some officers who go there to collect their parcel every now and then. So we knew that we're gonna have a problem here because, you know, the officers are part and parcel of it, and we wanna bring it down. Yeah. So when we went to go and evict there were these people from human settlement who quickly came to come and stop us from evicting out those illegal occupants. We had these members of the EFF as well, some members of the ANC as well. Then we had also some of the community leaders were there. There was a huge problem. They came to block us from evicting out these people. And I remember asking even these community leaders, I'm like, do you know what's happening in this building? So you are quite happy when you see your kids that are being turned into prostitutes, because when we got there, we found some young girls who are 15, 16 years of age who are prostitutes already. They are already being intoxicated by drugs. And you get community members, leaders, who come and block you from stopping this kind of a thing. You know, so, but at the end of the day, we have to use force to evict them out and bring down the building, because the owner didn't want anything to do with that building. Yeah, he wanted the building done because he knew that that place, it's already a drug junk. You know, the young kids were turning to prostitution, and funny enough, the community members are part and parcel of that. They support that. People from human settlement, they are part and parcel of that. They support that. Where young kids are turning to prostitution, young kids are using drugs, because you get small kids wearing uniforms. They go to a property like that buying drugs, and the community is doing nothing at all. They support that. You come and attack them, the community will come and fight against you. So,
yeah. And I know you've, based on your TikTok account, there's been situations where even the body corporate is protecting the hijackers.
yes.
Oh my goodness. Are they just being paid?
Most of them, they become a part and parcel of the enjoyment of the fruits they get from that property. So there is a huge profit in the property. And since there's a huge profit in the property, you get a lot of people involved. A lot of people involved. That's why, like you see, Joburg, it can never come all right, because the reason why, we need to clear off all of these politicians, because people from human settlement, these are non-profit organizations. They're part and parcel of those property hijackings. That's why, like, I like Kenny Kunene. Kenny Kunene has tried by all means. Then you will get these NGOs who will fight against him. And us who are underground doing what we do, we know that these people that are involved. We know what these people are doing. You know, that's why, like, even like, you know, if you go to a place, there's a place in Berea. If you check Berea, I can say it's a drug junk.
Yeah.
It's a drug junk. There are a lot of buildings where people, they are cooking drugs and so on. And you attack those buildings. You bring down all these drug dealers to ensure that the property owners, they get back those buildings. You will get these NGO members who will come and fight against you. You will get these politicians who will come and fight against you. So every time we go for eviction, most of the time, that's what we face. And we need to use we need to use all of our skill, all the forces to ensure that property owners, they get back what belongs to them. So it's never an easy job.
And how is that situation like when you know you are on the right side of the law, and yet they are using the law against you?
Against you.
You know, how do you navigate that balance?
Sometimes, you know, there's a scripture I like in the Bible where it says that violence takes it by force. Sometimes, we take it by force. Because you can never play soft with these guys.
And I'm sure there's other organizations or companies that do something similar to Jozi Evictions. Have you had any issues or challenges from them, or is it more of you cooperate and work together?
I can say there are companies, but the main one that I used to know, it was the Red Ants. The Red Ants used to do a lot of evictions.
They used to?
They used to. You know, it has gone quiet, but they used to. But apart from the Red Ants, there is no one that I can point a finger at. There is no one, because some other companies, you go to them, you ask them to come and evict in your property or your building, you cause a problem for yourself. You know, you found out that most of these companies, they are part and parcel of property hijackings. So there is no company I can point a finger at because they don't have honesty. Yeah.
So they are part and parcel. They are also getting.
I've told a lot of members, I can say, whether body corporates or whether property investors, that they should be. They should be aware of the type of securities they hire in their buildings or in their properties. Because let me say, if there's a building I'm guarding or I'm protecting, if there are about 2-3 tenants who are no longer paying rent in this building, and we as security, we don't take action to ensure that these 2-3 members, they are out of our building, that means I'm part and parcel of the problem. By end of the day, most securities, they make money through property hijackings. So most of property investors, they are still sleeping. I will tell them, look, you need to be careful when the security is protecting your building. You get 2, 3, 4 tenants who are no longer paying your rental, then your building is at risk. It's at risk because it is a security job to ensure that these members, they are out of the building if they don't pay rental at the end of the month. You know, there's no way I can be demanding you money to pay me and yet the building is being hijacked, and yet I wanna also milk out of you. It doesn't make sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is the biggest property you've ever evicted from?
Okay, apart from I've evicted quite a lot. I cannot count. Oh, there are a lot. From buildings, from land hijackings where thousands of shacks are being built.
Thousands.
Yeah, from properties where houses are being illegally built, then you come and demolish, take them down. Hey, I've done quite a lot.
I saw
commercial properties, all of this.
Even commercial properties.
A lot are being hijacked.
That are still operational.
Yes, are being hijacked a lot.
Oh my goodness. I saw recently on social media of some property that was hijacked in CBD Johannesburg, and they have on the roof of the building they are building.
Oh, the building
on the roof.
Yeah.
What about the safety side of that?
That's the type of thing that we normally deal with. What you saw there, the NGO members, these human settlement members, they are behind all of those problems. You come and try to stop those people from building. You'll be shocked within a couple of minutes. The NGO members, human settlement members, the cops, a lot of politicians, they'll come and block you from stopping them from building. They'll come and stop you. They'll tell you that, where will these people go? It is their right. So it is their right to hijack somebody else's property and do as they wish.
Like, I'm having flashbacks to the experience I had with these tenants that didn't want to leave. They were so entitled and so dismissive of the law and myself as the property owner. They were annoyed at me. I was supposed to give up. That's what they expected because they had done it so much, And the situation, there's always this thing in South Africa of don't trust Nigerians and this. I'm like, I'm not about that life. When I initially accepted those tenants, it was under the naivety that the applications that had been made available to me were the best applications that were out there. And it's only after I went through that experience that I saw Guti. Actually, the problem is bigger than there being people that are willing to hijack your property. The problem encapsulates the people that are willing to give or make available applications that are not viable, that were not even supposed to make it through a vetting process, because at the end of the day, the person has a goal to reach, and that person wants to rent out that apartment soon as possible. Soon as I took over that process of finding tenants myself, I all of a sudden saw a list of very good potential tenants. I'm like, why were these not being made available to me?
Yes.
Maybe those people might have had more options available to them, and so it might take a bit longer to get a good tenant. Yeah. But even after I got those people out, I was even willing to give this guy a chance. Okay, cool. Give me another list of people that are going to come for viewings and whatnot. And I was saying that, hey, first of all, this is Cape Town.
Yes.
So I'm seeing a lot of applications of people that if they were black, I do not think they would have been invited for a viewing, because I've always had a good relationship with my landlords when I was renting. I pay on time. My bills do not overlap with my expenses and what I can afford and what I live within my means. Yeah. And I got to a situation where I was so shook that, is this the best that's out there? Is this what people are willing to pay towards rent? Or are these the... is this the best option I have available to me? And so under that guise, I accepted those tenants, and I went through that experience, and then I started asking myself questions. What if this guy does not care of getting me the best tenant? you know, and my perspective changed after that point, that you must be aware that other people have different motives.
Yeah, I know, that is true.
You know? And the reason why the body corporate is corrupt, the reason why the police are complicit, the reason why the politicians are involved is because people are taking care of themselves.
Yes.
You know?
No, that is true.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, you know, in my line of duty, hey, I come across a lot of madness, yeah, a lot of crazy things, and yeah.
What's the most insane thing you've ever come across?
Mostly I've been in positions where, you know, there've been gunshots, a lot of gunshots, a lot of things, but we always overcome those things. We always overcome just to ensure that you as the property owner, you get what belongs to you. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Do you think you are gonna retire from this line of work anytime soon?
For now, I can say I'm in control. So to retire, I don't know. I will see how the future holds. Yeah. But the good part about it, the good feeling about this, it's always seeing property owners being happy. So, you know, doing good for people, it's what motivates me most of the time. Ensuring that property owners, they get what belongs to them.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that if I had not come across you, I would still be facing that same problem.
No, you would have been having a stress there. Because those people, your property was now their property.
Hey, they were.
Because when I got there, they were like, no, I'm going nowhere. This is my house.
Oh, goodness.
It is now their house.
You know, the last straw for me in that particular incident was the rudeness, the arrogance and the rudeness they had. You know, because up until that point when you evicted them, they had not paid rent in 4 months.
Because I remember when I started evicting them, he managed to call out most of his homeboys. There were quite a lot.
I saw
there
the
were quite a
video.
lot, but yeah, we always overcome those things.
Oh, this man sold himself as a family man on paper. My daughters are happy here. You know, I am not moving. I'm like, you obviously you cannot afford this place because you pay late every month. You pay 2 months late rent, 3 months late sometimes.
And it wasn't about affordability. That man can afford, but you know they were surely quite sure that your property is now their property. Yeah, they were hijacking it nicely and smoothly.
And they were even renting out a room to someone.
Yeah. There was one of their homeboy was renting out one room inside there. Show that if you didn't take action further, they would have rented out their whole house. Then he go and starts again the same problem elsewhere. You found out maybe he's got about 5-10 properties. He's doing the same thing.
And I believe that. And the thing that confuses me is you talk about being a family man. You want this place because your daughters are happy there. And yet in a 2-bedroom, you're renting out another room to a strange man in the same house as your children. When we were cleaning that place, we found condoms on the floor. It was filthy.
Yeah,
it was filthy.
It was gonna be a mess. I remember even when was it? Also last week we were in Santin. We're evicting one townhouse similar like to yours. The guy, when he first rented there, it was the same story as well. He's a family man. He's got kids, say that he's happy, not realizing that he wants to turn the house into a prostitution house. Yeah, so there were these slave queens that he was using. The guys will be coming, they'll be paying. So the house, it was a mess. Yeah, they use it for prostitutions. Then, the neighbors as well, they used to complain because a lot of cars, they'll be coming in. As much as the security at the gate, they'll be complaining as well. Yeah, he was making money out of that, and he's no longer paying any rental. He has hijacked the property. Yeah, so we came through and evicted. Yeah, and when we evicted, yeah, the house was a mess. It was the same similar situations where you find condoms in the floors everywhere. Yeah.
It was so filthy. I was so shocked when I moved.
And the funny part, this one, when we evicted, there were a lot of drugs as well. You open up the drawers, you find drugs inside. You check underneath the bed, there are drugs underneath. So it was a mess. Yeah, and these kind of properties, when you evict them out, there are certain people who will come and fight against you. That's one thing that we always see, especially houses where criminality is being used. Yeah, you'll get certain politician members who will come, because even there in Sandton, while we were evicting, we did get some politician members who came to come and stop us from doing what we are doing.
Local government.
Yes.
I'm a councillors.
Yes, you get them. They'll come and they want to stop you from doing what you're doing. Then...
Even in Sandton.
Even in Sandton. Sandton, in fact, it's even becoming worse. Because Sandton is being hijacked a lot. And the government is doing nothing about it because their own kind, they are behind it.
I saw recently that the DA in the Western Cape is planning on building cheap rent-to-buy properties, but they are building this cheap rent-to-buy properties in the traditionally black and colored areas. So they are basically saying, stay there. We don't want you in town or anything like that. Stay there. It's basically a reinforcement of the Group Areas Act. So on top of the issues that where we have people hijacking properties, there is also another system of racism in South Africa that kind of discriminates on those people that are legitimate people that are good, would make good candidates as tenants to properties. But in addition to the suspicion that someone might be a hijacker, there's also that element of racism now where you are looked as the suspicious black candidate, just simply of the fact that you are black.
I don't know whether to put it on under the cut of race or what, but many times I've been in Cape Town, I've realized that Cape Town, it needs strong leaders, and the problem that we don't vote good leaders. There's no leadership. You go to places like there by Kailisha, Kukuletu, lot of local places. You look at the leaders who are holding it up together. They are criminals. People, they vote for criminals.
Yeah.
So as long as you vote for a criminal, there is nothing good you're going to get.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good leaders, but good leaders are never wanted. I've known some good leaders before in Cape Town, but because they are good, they end up killing them, or the community end up turning against them.
Yeah.
So, it's going to take a long journey for Cape Town to be Cape Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that mostly I don't look at much race anymore, because most of the time as black people, we shield ourselves with this thing of race and forget about reality. When you look at reality, you will never see race. Because, for instance, I remember they hired us last time to take out those people in the street who are building these small shacks in the street. In Cape Town, you go along what they call the street, the Strand Street.
Yes.
Along the Strand Street, I'm sure you saw those people building those small shacks. And even by the army base campsite or what, there were people who were doing the same thing again. And when some leaders started taking action to say that these people, they must be removed, we were so shocked to see again politicians, local politicians, coming to fight against them, saying that no, you cannot take out these people from the street. So you found out that the town is a mess, it's dirty. Crime is on a high rate. All because we've got certain crooked leaders who are ensuring that they bring this country all the way down to the grave.
what would your opinion be if a strategy to clean up this problem from the ground up? What would you suggest people do?
I can suggest if like ordinary people in the community, if they can stand up against what is wrong, and they must block their ears from listening from these leaders, because these leaders sometimes they mislead them. You know, a beautiful city like Cape Town, you get certain places where a beautiful city, the people that build shacks, and they didn't build shacks because they are stranded. They build shacks on the basis of politics, because certain politicians have told them build here, and so that we can overcome a certain political party. They are not building, because if you check from the days of the old, even if when we were coming to Hillbrow used to be beautiful. But immediately when we started putting certain leaders into power, the city started becoming dirty. People, they litter anyhow, anyway. Same thing in Cape Town. If you go to Cape Town right now, all the way to Mthatha, people that are paying protection fee.
Yeah.
You know, and if you check behind, these people are being supported by certain people in power. There's somebody else who is investing a lot into this thing. And they hire these small, crooked criminals who will make sure that either they kill you or you're going to pay. You know, if you deny to pay, you are running your own tuck shop or you are running your own shop, your own business, they kill you. And if you check, if you can stand up to attack these crooked criminals, including the people who are behind them, you will see the type of people who are going to attack you. You'll find a lot of powerful politicians who will attack you. So, if we try to do a good thing, people will be against you. Yeah. Just like what I do, people, they are always against me. I get a lot of people.
Who are
always.
these people?
There's something that you get a lot of politicians, you get a lot of criminals who are behind this thing, and they influence the communities. The communities, they will also be against us.
So it's corruption and crime
Yes.
that's at the core of this thing.
Yeah.
You know, like the way I'm from the Eastern Cape, originally from Port Elizabeth, Engabeg,
Yeah.
as they call it now. And it's gotten so bad in PE, so bad. You can see, you can see it that businesses that used to thrive when I was in high school are dead. You know, neighborhoods that were clean, areas that were thought of as being, you know, they are falling apart. And so it's so bad that when I want to go home, my mother is like, no, you can't. I'm like, why? It's not safe. Like hijackings have increased. Like just gun violence has increased as a whole. You need to pay protection fees if you own a car.
Yeah.
I have friends that I grew up with that decided to either settle back home or the opportunities they found were still there back home. And they buy cars, they build a home, and all of a sudden if they want to go visit their grandmother or their mother in the township, they have to pay fees. Yeah. Otherwise, if they see that your car has Eastern Cape plates and they see you in this neighborhood and they grew up with you, like, Aibo, guy, you owe us. You can't just be here safe. You can't just be here safe. Like, your car, if you want to enjoy yourself, don't come to the side of town. Stay in the suburbs. Stay wherever. I'm like, people are accepting this.
You see, it's like, I'm from Tembisa side, and growing up in Tembisa, I remember one point of time when we were building one police station in Tembisa South. Police station, I've operated with the cops from Tembisa South quite a lot. I can say those are the best cops I've ever come across. I've worked with a lot of officers from different police stations, but Tembisa South, those are one of the best cops. And as much as they are one of the best cops, you know, you get also members of the community, politicians, who fight against them for being good. You know, Tembisa South, they've cleaned up part and parcel of Tembisa. They've cleaned up. Tembisa South, those are one cops that I know where they do operations, where they go from street to street in the community, searching for drugs, ensuring that unlicensed taverns are being closed. ensuring that they go from sometime house to house just to check if people are safe, if their kids are safe. And those type of operations, we've got certain members in the community who are corrupt, who fight against them. They'll go sometime, from house to house. They'll ask the community members if they know people are selling drugs in the communities. And you get community members who protect drug dealers in their community. They will not even point a finger. But these guys, their strategy, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
If that strategy can be implemented all over like Gauteng, I believe SA can be a good country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they doing specifically that's different from the rest of?
You see, their strategy of going street to street every now and then, because they don't do it once off. It's every now and then. Every now and then. They go, from street to street. They call out. Most time, every week they've got meetings with the community leaders to ask them of what's happening in their areas. Sometimes you find out there were gunshots in their area. They ask them, why were there gunshots in your area? And the bad part there, you've got leaders in the community, including politicians, who will protect anything of violence and not be open so that the problem is being solved. Yeah. But Tembisa South, I don't want to lie, those cops, they're the best.
Do you think they are the best because they come from the community, or is there something uniquely different about them?
I can say, from the station commander, the captain, I can say they've got the best leadership in the police station. Okay. The colonels, they've got the best leadership. Okay. And because they've got the best leadership, then all of the officers, they follow whatever they say, and they ensure that they do the right thing. Yeah.
So I do believe there are good cops, because even when you evicted at my property, you were accompanied by the police to serve the eviction notice to them. So I do believe there are good cops out there.
Yes.
But unfortunately, even Helen Ziller says this, that when you have a culture of corruption that comes from the top, it trickles down to everyone, where everyone expects that cool drink. It's a South African thing. Like, you have to buy a cool drink for certain things in South Africa. So that culture, when it's expected, even if you want to do good, you're like, hey, maybe I might be putting myself at a risk here. I remember during the World Cup when they employed the strategy of taking special forces from different parts of the country. So they would take Zulu guys and put them in the Eastern Cape, and they would take Xhosa guys and put them in Limpopo, and in that way it was easier to enforce a strict rule of law during the World Cup to protect the safety of tourism and to keep the image of South Africa, at least for that tournament, as being clean and safe and whatnot. Do you think that would be a good strategy to implement now as a normal basis, so that people are more inclined to just follow their orders? Because it's easier to take someone who is not part of the community and make them a bit extra hard in enforcing the law in that community, because at the same time, if you are not from there, it is not as easy to know the people in the community that they can also come to you and say, hey, here's a cool drink, here's an envelope, look the other way. If you are coming from a different part of the country and you've been put somewhere else to enforce and secure a rule of law, becomes easier, I think, in my opinion, to then be at least more honest and have perform your duties with a bit more transparency. What do you think about that?
Okay, SA is, because I look at us being of one tribe, and as people of one tribe, I think sometimes it is good, to mingle and mix these people together, where you can get from KZN, you bring them maybe to Western Cape. Come from Western Cape, maybe you take them maybe to Limpopo. I can say that can be a good strategy, and we can conquer this thing of tribalism, because when you come to Western Cape, you are expecting the majority of being coloureds. You go to KZN, you're expecting the majority of being the Zulus. Come to Eastern Cape, it's Xhosa. And I think if we can try to overcome that mentality, no, these are the section of Xhosas, these are the section of the Zulus. Why don't we come together as one tribe, where we operate together as one tribe? I believe that we can overcome criminality on its own. I believe that we can overcome poverty on its own. Yeah, but when we started, you know what? These are my kind. These are not my kind.
Yeah.
The country will never be okay.
Yeah.
You see, it's like, for example, I've once read a long time ago, reading about the Wall of China, how the Wall of China was built. There was once this other king. The king said that those who want to build for the China of tomorrow, stand one side. And those that are living for today, stand one side. Then there were those that wanted to live for today, they want to eat bread for today. When they stood one side, they formed all the soldiers and all the people from this side, kill all of these people, slaughter them. So all of those people that were living for today, they were all slaughtered. But those people that were building for the future of China, they were saved. So by that time, you were even forced to kill even your own brother, if your brother was standing on behalf of the people who are living in the China of today. So these are the rotten potatoes who live for today, who don't care about tomorrow. Same thing like today. We've got leaders who live for today. They don't care about tomorrow. And that's why we've got too much corruption, where people, they'll be given a tender of 50 million to build roads, and they will take 45 M and put it in their pocket, because they are not living for tomorrow, but they're living for today. They don't care about the leadership of tomorrow. They care about the leadership of today. So as long as we've got leaders and we keep on voting for leaders who are hungry for bread, who will sell the country for bread, there's nothing good that will ever come out of this nation.
That's powerful, man. Where can people find you?
Mostly it's either on social media, or they can easily contact me, because my line is a public line.
Okay, what's your line?
Which is 078-181-6666. 078-181-6666.
And which socials can they find you on?
Okay, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they can find me.
What's your handle there?
If you can say Jozi Eviction Team, you'll find me. But at the same time, again, you need to be careful of the imposters, because online there are a lot of imposters. Imposting is Jozi Eviction Team.
Yeah.
So you need to be very, very careful.
That happens with my account as well.
Oh, man, you see. Yeah, okay, so people, they need to be very careful. And they need to be very careful that the person that they contact, it's me. It's no one else.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not me, you must forget about it.
So the best way to contact you is the number and
the
Jozi
number that
Evictions.
As well, the number that I gave you, it's quite good, because it's always available for anyone.
Is it on WhatsApp?
Yeah, it's on WhatsApp, it's on calls.
Okay.
You call that number, you are safe. But if you see other numbers on social media, you are not safe. Yeah, that is the only number operating. There are no any other alternative numbers. Yeah, if there are other alternative numbers, then you've got a wrong number. Yeah, because most of people that are being robbed online, then I'll be shocked that there are people who will be saying a lot of bad things about Jozi Eviction Team on social media. Well, it's other imposters, they mess up where they go. After messing up their eviction, then they want to come against us. So there's something that people, they must be careful. And when they make a phone call, they must make sure that they're calling the right number, not any other numbers.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for coming here.
You're welcome.
Your services are much needed in this country, because I am quite sure, had I not come across you, I would be in a reality that I don't want to even think about. So your services are needed, and people, please make sure that if you are reaching out to Jozi Evictions, that you are reaching out to the correct people. And with that, I thank you.
Thanks so much. Sure, before Zano Nyabong.